In this segment, we're going to talk about whether you need what we call a flat table, a couch that doesn't have a lifting backrest, or a couch that does need a lifting backrest. First consideration you need to make is about your treatments and what treatments you're going to do. If you're going to do things like reflexology or facials or consultations, you might need a lifting backrest, and certainly for a lot of beauty treatments it's necessary. The drawback about having a portable table with a lifting backrest is the weight. You tend to add between 2 and 3 kilos to the weight of any table which doesn't have a lifting backrest to then one that does. So it's worth considering that in the first instance. If you don't need it, don't get it. But certainly if you think that your career might develop and you might do those kind of treatments, it's best to get it right in the first instance. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about lifting backrests, and this is our affinity one. We use ratchets. There are a variety of other ways of doing these. But the reason why the weight is so much more is, consider it like a convertible car. If you take the roof off the car, you have to strengthen the chassis. So all these areas are stiffened to make them still have the strength and not break when you've got the backrest up. I use a ratchet system which gives 10 positions. The drawback I would say of having that system is that if you have to push it all the way to the return to bring it back down. But you do have a lot of positions. Certainly we're quite unusual in our design is the fact that we try and make sure that this angle at the top is quite great. And the reason why we do that is, say for example you're giving a reflexology treatment. A lot of people like to sit up and talk when you're at the other end of the table. If, in the case of a lot of our competitors, if you've only got maybe a 30-degree angle, the client is more or less staring at the ceiling, and they kind of try and pull their neck forward, and therefore they're straining themselves. It's not comfortable. So that's why we do that. I like the struts being on both ends. There's another way of doing it where you have a pole in the centre. The drawback of that is that when a client often gets off a table, they will, and it's been raised, they often use this corner or the other corner to lever themselves off. So you get this twisting motion, and it's something you're keen to avoid because basically it will either snap the plywood backrest or break the frame or do something, but it will ultimately damage your table. So that's why I like these struts here. There's a couple of other things you can do with say our tables. We keep these lugs for the face cradle. And the nice thing about that is that you can actually then position one of our face cradles in the backrest, and again locking it out as we did in the previous section. And then you turn your cushion round. And what that does is if you've got a client sitting on the table, it actually cushions the nape of their neck so they're not falling backwards, and it's much more comfortable. So, if you've taken the decision to have a lifting backrest, make sure that you get one with the correct design, has a nice amount of stiffness, and maybe has this added little feature which gives a bit more finesse to your treatments.